Okay, everybody, welcome back. We are going to do another fun and exciting interview here. We're live at the Bali Conference in Grand Rapids. Pretty excited. We've got another great interview for you now. We've got Jenny Kassan, who is the co-founder and CEO of Cutting Edge Capital. She's wicked smart, one of those lawyer types, and knows how to do all that fun stuff. Her topic today that she's speaking at the conference is choosing the right legal structure to support your mission, which we're going to talk about. But I want to learn a little bit more about Cutting Edge Capital, and then kind of talk about a couple other things. So thanks and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Cutting Edge Capital, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing as far as the consulting that you do for the local businesses and stuff?
Sure. So we have a law firm called Kadovich and Kassan Law Group. I founded it with my partner, John Kadovich. And it's a full-service law firm for small, local, mostly sustainable, socially responsible businesses. And one challenge that they really face a lot is raising capital. And kind of the mainstream way of raising capital is try to go and find that one wealthy investor, maybe go to a venture capitalist, maybe try to go to a bank and raise money. But because we're securities lawyers, we happen to know that there are other ways of raising money that are not so common because they're a little bit more complicated from a regulatory perspective, but they are options that people can do.
Right.
So we decided to start Cutting Edge Capital to really have a separate business that would really focus on that issue of raising capital. And we offer many different alternatives for raising capital, but what we do that's really unique is we help businesses raise capital from their communities.
Right.
So not necessarily from one or two wealthy individuals or investors, but from many, many smaller investors, which has a lot of benefits.
Right. So do you guys do that nationwide, or are you focused just
Yes, we have clients all over the country.
Okay, that's interesting. We'll have a link down below to Cutting Edge's, to your site, so people can get information on that. Now, you've been involved in helping a bunch of different structures raise capital, everything from nonprofits, for-profits, co-ops. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So, you know, we really approach it initially from a legal perspective, because whether you like it or not, raising capital is highly regulated, and the type of structure that you are, the type of investor you're looking for, what state you're in, these things can all really affect how you can raise capital. So for example, if you happen to be a nonprofit in certain states, you can actually offer something that's an investment opportunity. You could offer to your community loan opportunities, so that you could say, hey, you know, lend us $1,000 and have 1,000 people in your community lend you $1,000. And in many states, that's completely unregulated if you're a nonprofit. Whereas in other states, it's actually treated exactly the same whether you're a nonprofit or a for-profit. Another example is co-ops. There are some states where if you're a co-op, you can raise money pretty much however you want, and it's exempt from the securities regulations. Whereas in other states, for example, in California, if you want to raise up to $300 per member, that's exempt. But if you go over $300, you have to do the full securities compliance process. So we try to really understand all of the different legal issues that can come up depending on your state, depending on what structure you are, depending on how much you're trying to raise, and we help people find the right legal strategy so they can raise the money they need from the people they want to raise it from, but without breaking the law.
That sounds really hard. I'm glad there's smart people like you that are doing it, because I'm way over my head. But that's kind of interesting, and you know, we kind of touched on that. But you know, you've worked for nonprofits, you've worked for for-profits, you've worked with co-ops. Is there a consistent theme, or is it just, you know, hey, we need capital, we can't get it from the bank or the VC or the angel?
Yeah, I would say the theme really is that we work with any type of entity, whether it's a for-profit, a co-op, a nonprofit, whatever it is. These are entities that have a lot of fans. So they have a lot of people in their community or in affinity groups, or maybe their customers in their neighborhood, whatever, that just love them and want to support them and want to see them successful. So these are all different, you know, whatever type of business it is, in many different industries. We have clients that are in all kinds of industries, all kinds of structures, but they do have that one thing in common, that there are all these people that want to support them and want to invest in them. So we help them find the right way to do that within the law.
Wow, that seems really compelling.
I'm
interested.
Good.
So your topic today is choosing the right legal structure and to support your mission.
Right.
And everybody is pretty familiar with like C corps and S corps and maybe an LLC, or maybe you're a sole proprietor. There's the new one, the B Corp, which is pretty interesting. You can walk a lot of people through that, and you probably have different packages and stuff like that. Right? So let's talk quickly about some of the things that they should maybe do at the beginning to kind of either ease the process or help them clarify it. Is there like a checklist or something that?
Yeah, it's a very tricky process. There are literally thousands of options. If you take into account the fact that every state has different laws governing entities, and no matter where you're located, you can choose to form under the law of whatever state you want. As you know, many businesses form under Delaware law. We have a client that's a Washington, D.C. yoga studio that chose to form under the Minnesota Limited Cooperative Association Act because it just happened to be a structure that worked really well with what she was trying to accomplish. Even just with co-ops alone, I would estimate there's probably at least 100 different co-op statutes that are all quite different from each other within the country. So
it doesn't sound like something you can just Google and get a good answer.
Yes, exactly. It's a very difficult process, and there's so many considerations. I mean, tax considerations can be huge, and some people think, oh, an LLC is always better from a tax perspective, and that's not necessarily true.
First knowledge of that. Oops.
Yes, exactly. So we have developed a process where we can kind of take people through a lot of different considerations, employment law considerations, tax considerations, how they want to preserve their mission, how they want to bring in investment, how they want to deal with exit potentially in the future. And we take them through a process and we try to help them find the best possible structure. Of course, I think there's no perfect structure, but I think there are more and more options. As you mentioned, there are some new options out there.
Well, and a lot of the changes, like the Jobs Act that just passed and some other stuff. I mean, that's changing a lot of the structure requirements because they've got more flexibility.
Exactly.
So one of the things that always comes up, especially with a lot of my clients and the people that I work with and business owners that I know, is succession planning and transferring ownership, and that can be a huge part of the sustainability plan of a business. Because if the owner decides he wants to sell it, what's going to happen long term, and especially succession planning with a triple bottom line background, because it's about the people, the planet, and profit. Especially the first two are pretty important, especially when you're transferring ownership. So you guys get involved in that? Tell me.
We do, and I think it's something that you need to think about from the very beginning, because how you structure in the beginning will ultimately affect how you can deal with that process when you're getting ready to retire. So we look at a lot of different models. Actually, someone on our team is Marjorie Kelly, who's probably the world's top thinker on these issues of how do you structure business for mission and to preserve mission even after the founders are long gone. So she's looked at models all over the world of how this is being done, and she actually comes along with me. So she's a non-lawyer but who has a ton of knowledge of how this is done, and I'm a lawyer who has the legal knowledge, and together we make a good team, and we help people. Duo. Yes, exactly. So we help people structure in a way that can allow them to preserve mission over the long run.
Oh, very cool. Interesting stuff. Any comments on the conference so far? I mean, you were here yesterday as well, and you're here today?
Yes, I've been here since Monday night.
So you've been here a long time.
And it's been wonderful.
What do you think of West Michigan so far?
We love it here.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
huh?
In fact, we're trying to recruit a lot of your businesses to come to our area.
Careful. Easy.
Not to leave here, but to open a second
location.
Business. Yes, definitely. Because you have things here. We're from the Bay Area. We think we have the best, most progressive stuff, but you have things here that we don't have, and we're very jealous.
Say that again to the camera, will you?
You have amazing businesses here that we do not have. You're doing an amazing job, and we're very impressed.
Wow, very cool. Well, thanks. Thanks for coming on. So, everybody, again, we're at the Bali Conference in Grand Rapids, here with Jenny Kassan with Cutting Edge Capital. We'll have a link to her site and a couple other resources down below. Thanks for watching.